So I was looking back through some of your releases, going back to, I think it was February of 2018. You talked about the Steele dossier when you unclassified a 4-page document, and it went directly to the FISA warrants. Can you tell me now, knowing what you know now with what Ratcliffe has released, how do you lay all this out for the American people?
Well, that's a long question because it goes back almost a decade, but let me try to decipher it down for your viewers. And that is that in early 2016, that is key, early 2016, Clinton and the DNC start to frame Trump and decide that they're going to tie him to Russia. The FBI is involved early in that. So are people within the Obama White House. The dates that really become important are the dates that John Ratcliffe was talking about there. Back in 2016, in July, the intelligence agencies discover that this plan is afoot. Then we know that Brennan tells Obama and Biden and others about this, and he informs the FBI. That's in around August 1st of 2016. Then we have plenty of evidence where the fake news is heavily involved and they keep going out story after story leading up to the election. But in 2016, nobody cared, nobody bought it. It seemed ridiculous, but there are probably some 2 dozen outlets that were on this Russia conspiracy stuff, but it just fell flat. And then the unthinkable happens, and that is that President Trump wins in 2016. Now, it becomes relevant for us, or for me, and the Congress at the time, because we then are briefed by the intelligence agencies right around Thanksgiving of 2016 that nothing unusual had happened. The bad guys were doing bad guy things like they always do. But as you know, there's a reason that every country, or most every country, great powers, they have cyber capabilities, they have spy agencies, intelligence networks. So bad guys are always going to do bad things. And guess what? I would hope as, us working with our allies are also going to go after the bad guys too. So that all happens. We get briefed, nothing abnormal, Grant, zero. Okay? Mm-hmm. Then go forward just less than a couple weeks. And this was put out by Tulsi Gabbard that we did not know. And that is that the Presidential Daily Brief, PDB is the acronym, had in there exactly, now that I've seen it, was exactly almost verbatim what we had received a couple weeks before. And that was that Russia didn't do anything. Russia didn't change the outcome. Yes, they were doing bad things, but they always do bad things, but nothing happened to change the outcome of the election. Then there's a meeting that occurs in the White House on December 9th. And that is when Obama directs the change in this new, never done before, ICA, Intelligence Community Assessment. That gets done in record time for government, by the way. In record time, here you have, election just occurred. It's December 10th by the time they get working on it. Government agencies hardly work around Christmas and New Year's, and voila, on January 6th, not of 2020, January 6th of 2017, Obama's still president. Trump gets briefed, we get briefed, and that's when they have the dossier in there, and they've changed within a month, including less than a month, including with New Year's and Christmas, all kinds of new intelligence miraculously occurred. The problem, Grant, it didn't occur. And what also was released in the last couple of weeks, which is what kind of buttons all this together, is our investigators on our committee, and along with myself, Kash Patel, others, John Ratcliffe, Trey Gowdy, all names that you're familiar with, we took over 2 years and we went through every single piece of intelligence. We put it into a report. And that's what you're referring to. When you refer to that the Clinton plan was out there, that Putin knew about it. We also knew Putin didn't care about it. Putin didn't think Trump was going to win. If anything, the intelligence that we looked at in its entirety would show, if anything, that Putin wanted Clinton to win, which, by the way, I believe he did. Now, I can't say that definitively because we don't have, you would need 2 or 3 different sources of intelligence that with Putin actually saying he wanted Clinton to win. But when you look at the entirety of it, there wasn't 1 ounce of evidence that said Putin, when I say evidence, meaning intelligence, because we went through all the intelligence. We put that all into a 40-page report. We released it. We asked publicly. We said we're ready to release it. We asked President Trump in 2018 to declassify it. He did. The deep state hid it from us, Grant. For 2 years, we fought and fought and fought. Finally, Trump loses. He again said it was declassified. Voila, it wasn't declassified for whatever reason. Never shows up at the archives. Okay. Now, why am I saying archives? It becomes important here because by the end of 2020, now President Trump is out of office, and then this report never gets out. I'm still in Congress, and we're saying, where the hell is this report? It should have been it was declassified. And of course, there's a mountain of evidence in there that just now got out in the last couple of weeks because it was finally declassified by President Trump and Tulsi Gabbard. Now, I'm going through all of this because you asked, you talked about conspiracy. So that document, I believe, is the one or one of the ones that caused the raid at Mar-a-Lago in 2022. They were looking for that document because that document is deadly to John Brennan, Clapper, all of them, because that was obstruction of our committee, of Durham, of everybody involved that looked at this over the last 8 years. So what happened in Florida, the raiding of Mar-a-Lago, that was started by the archives, making a criminal referral that documents hadn't been returned. And I believe putting all that together is because we thought that information had been put to the archives. We call the archives and say, where the hell is it? They desperately didn't want that information to come out. They do a criminal referral, and then they raid Mar-a-Lago, Jack Smith and company. So you got a couple different investigations going on here. Pam Bondi says she's going to convene a grand jury. You have an investigation of Jack Smith. Sorry for that long explanation, but that in a nutshell are all the important dates, and there's a lot of stuff in between.